everyone, my name is Sam Brown, and I am really good friends here with Pastor Megan. We love Pastor Megan. I actually grew up with her in my high school years. We met in choir my freshman year. She was actually like one of my first friends in the program. She graduated my sophomore year, but we remained friends all throughout, and also at GCU, Lopes Up. I was born into a Christian household, so even like as a newborn baby, I was dedicated to our church. My parents homeschooled me, so literally all I knew was my home and church. I grew up in all the children's ministry stuff, the youth ministry, and all those lovely things. So I've known the Lord my whole life, and my parents gave me a very solid foundation in truth and in His Word. So I struggle with same-sex attraction, and I think I started developing those struggles and those feelings around actually middle school. But unfortunately at the time, my church didn't even talk about sexuality, actually. It was like bad to talk about it. And the narrative kind of just was like, God hates gay people, they go to hell. So that's what I thought was the truth. So it was really hard for me. I loved Jesus in like my middle school years, and it was really hard because I would cry myself to sleep all the time thinking that God hated me, and I prayed for Him to change that, to take away the feelings, but He never did. So into high school, I kind of decided I was just gonna feel what I feel and not label it. And that was kind of how I started in my freshman year. And I still wanted Jesus, and I still loved Jesus. It was just a really gray area for me, and I decided to just ignore it completely. It was in the back of my brain. I was just gonna live my life however I wanted at that point. In high school, I, again, started living like not labeling it, and I didn't really tell anybody about it. I kind of just was myself and did whatever I wanted. And into sophomore year, I got more comfortable with the idea of living a gay lifestyle. That's something that it felt more comfortable, especially the people I was around. It was very encouraged. I'm a theater kid too. I did lots of community theater, so it was very encouraged. And then my junior year of high school, actually, I took it a step further and I decided to start dating a boy. Kind of from that point on, I just fully went into it. I was on all the apps, dating apps, meeting up with guys, just really, really deep in that lifestyle. As I said, from like all of high school into college even, I was fully identifying as gay. I was deep into it. But the problem was I still wanted Jesus, and I still wanted Him. And I remember my freshman year of college, God started to kind of put in my heart that idea of Him and pursuing Him. And I wanted to, and I tried to do it my freshman year. I remember I was like, this week I'm going to just read the Word and really try and just do both. I'm gonna follow Jesus and I'm going to be gay. It's gonna be fine. And that lasted probably 2 weeks. It was really hard, and it's full of a lot of shame too. And there's the narrative out there in society that says you only have two options. You can either fully deny it and pretend it's not there and you're going to be miserable your entire life, or you can accept it and you're going to have a happy life. That is pretty much the narrative when it comes to sexuality in our culture. Well, at that point, I was like, I've done both. I denied it fully, and I was very, very, very depressed. And then I decided to accept it, but I'm still not happy. I still end my days sad. I remember I would just cry every night, wondering if God loved me. It was really difficult for me, and I found value in a lot of other things that were not Christ. So around my sophomore year of college, the Lord kept putting this want for Him in me, and it got stronger and stronger. And He kind of was like, okay, Sam, you have to make a decision. You either have to follow me or do what you want, So I remember I would have moments of just fear because I could almost see where my life would lead me. and it wasn't a life with the Lord, and it was scary. And God did a lot of cool things in my life at the time. Like, he brought me back to my church. I remember I resented church because of how, you know, the idea of sexuality was addressed. And, you know, my youth pastor hadn't talked to me in years, and he randomly texted me, and I was like, I'll go to church this weekend. And what are they teaching on? They're teaching on marriage, and what is marriage, and it was all very convicting. And one night I was really sad, and I was crying because I felt like I just felt so empty, because I was dealing with friendship issues, and that's where I got a lot of my value at the time. And I remember texting my friend, and she said, "Hey, what's wrong?" And I said, this is a situation, and I'm sad. And she said, "Well, there's one thing you can always know, and that is that Jesus will never leave you, and he will never, ever ignore you." And I remember I read that, and I said to myself, why does she always have to bring Jesus into this? And then I took a step back, and I was like, why was that my immediate reaction to that? Because that's true, and if I'm a Christian, then that should be true. She invited me to church the next day, and I said yes, and that night I decided to read the Bible from the beginning, Genesis 1. And I remember reading it and being in awe of who God is. It was like those glasses were taken off, and I was seeing who God is, how powerful he is, how gracious he is, how faithful he is. And I was brought to tears. And that night, I swear to you, I just felt this comfort. It felt like Jesus was just hugging me, and I felt safe. And I went to church the next day, and then even in that sermon, God showed me more of his goodness. And in my friend's car, I broke down in tears, and I decided I was going to surrender this part of me. And it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. As soon as I had decided to surrender, the Lord gave me a calling, and that was to share my story and to educate Christians and be that little light of hope to kids and just people in general who struggle with this as well. Because I didn't have somebody, when I was in high school, sitting in the back row of my youth group, just silently struggling and crying every night thinking God hated me, which is not even remotely true, but nobody told me that. I texted my old youth pastor, we got coffee, I told him all of this, and I got started in our youth ministry, and I started serving. I got started in our college ministry. I shared my testimony with my church's college group and with our high school group. Educating and sharing this story so that people don't feel alone, and that Christians know how to deal with this issue, because it's not an easy issue to deal with. I also do worship now. I now do theater ministry. Just all these different things where God is taking all these different parts of my life and using them for his glory has been really insane. And I just want to make it clear that it's not all amazing and easy. And I think Jesus is very clear about that when he says we have to pick up our cross daily, and that the world is going to hate us. I mean, that's reality for us. And there are some people that we see. I mean, I have friends who struggle with this too, and God completely delivered them. And he can do that because he's God, and it's amazing. But also sometimes he doesn't do that, right? Sometimes it is something that you're just going to struggle with, and that's the reality for me. And every day I have to resurrender myself, give myself to the Lord. But there's so much hope in that because God is constant. He's always there. He's never going to leave you. And that's something I've seen my entire life. Even when I was actively living that lifestyle, God was there. And he was working in my life, and I can see looking back, he was working until I gave my heart to him fully. He's always present no matter where you are, and he's working in your life. And I just want to encourage you guys, if this is something you're struggling with, that you're not alone at all. The enemy is going to try and trick you into thinking that this is an insane taboo thing that you're struggling with, and nobody gets it, and nobody can relate, and that is far from the truth. There are so many people out there who can help you. There's so many resources for you to know that you are not alone. And for those maybe who don't struggle with this, but maybe you know somebody, just love them. Let them know Jesus loves them. There's that narrative that God hates all gay people and all this stuff, and that's not true. Just point them to the word, point them to truth. because Jesus works in everyone's lives. I mean, it doesn't really matter what we struggle with, he's working. So that's my encouragement to you.